Gisèle Pelicot is being celebrated today for what her supporters say is a brave stand against abuse and violence against women. Her now ex-husband, Dominique Pelicot, was sentenced earlier today to 20 years in jail for orchestrating her mass rape over nearly a decade. He admitted to heavily sedating her and recruiting dozens of men to abuse her.
Caméra, recule!
The scene outside the courthouse in Avignon as Gisèle Pelicot exited. Cheers of support from the hundreds of people gathered outside. She was swarmed by media from around the world. Gisèle Pelicot is 72. She's become a feminist icon in France after she waived her right to anonymity during the trial and decided to face her abusers in court. All of the other 50 defendants were found guilty and sentenced for participating in the abuse. She did not speak publicly during the trial, but we got a statement from her from the first time just a couple of hours ago, right after the verdicts and sentences were announced.
C'est avec une profonde émotion que je m'exprime aujourd'hui devant vous. Ce procès a été une épreuve très difficile et à cet instant, je pense en premier lieu à mes 3 enfants, David, Caroline et Florian. Je pense également à mes petits-enfants, parce qu'ils sont l'avenir et c'est aussi pour eux que j'ai mené ce combat. Je pense aussi à toutes les autres familles touchées par ce drame. Je pense enfin aux victimes non reconnues, dont les histoires demeurent souvent dans l'ombre. Je veux que vous sachiez que nous partageons le même combat. J'ai voulu, en ouvrant les portes de ce procès le 2 septembre dernier, que la société puisse se saisir des débats qui y sont tenus. Je n'ai jamais regretté cette décision. J'ai confiance à présent en notre capacité à saisir collectivement un avenir dans lequel chacun, femme et homme, puisse vivre en harmonie, dans le respect et la compréhension mutuelle.
Gisèle Pelicot, as she spoke publicly for the first time after the trial and after that moment in Avignon. The trial has received a massive amount of attention in France. Thousands of protesters have taken to the streets in the past few months, both to support Gisèle Pelicot and to challenge the rape law in France, which currently makes no mention that sex should involve consent. Sarah Levitt has the details of what took place today.
Something that I noted from when she spoke was her poise, and it's something that has been on display throughout this trial. And the other thing that she said through that statement was, "I regret nothing." It is a trial that has really gone worldwide, including here in London, lots of attention. And lots of attention today as we saw those images. The amount of journalists, both from France and foreign press, the crowds outside the courthouse. And so earlier today, the men accused, the 51 men made their way into court. Those who were already in custody were brought in. In all, 47 accused or found guilty of rape, 2 of attempted rape, and 2 of sexual assault. Of course, the one that most people were waiting to hear came first. That's the ex-husband, Dominique Pelicot. He was given the maximum sentence of 20 years. The men between, the 50 other men, were given in a range of 3 to 15 years as those verdicts became clear and those sentencing became clear. The crowd outside reacted with cheers. At least 5 of the men will walk out right now. They had either suspended sentences or they have already served their time. And these men have 10 days to appeal, something that Dominique Pelicot's lawyer has said they haven't made a decision on yet.
You know, the people who were outside that court, so many you would have seen when you were in Avignon, Sarah, covering things at the court, but she would have seen them as they supported her as she arrived at court every day with their signs indicating their support. And she, of course, referenced them, giving her the strength to come back to court day after day. I'm wondering what you heard in her comments in terms of whether this gives her a sense of justice for other victims. I mean, she spoke to that directly.
She did, and you know, one of the things that we heard in that clip that we played was the fact that she said that she's thinking of the unknown victims of rape, and that she said we fight the same fight. She didn't directly reference the verdicts or the sentencing, but I did get some insight into what she had to say, at least what she had told her lawyer, what she was thinking. I sat down with her lawyer, Stéphane Babineau, in Avignon a few days ago, and he said that he felt uncomfortable speaking for her, but she wasn't doing any sit-down interviews for obvious reasons. And he said that for her it was important to see justice. Let's hear from him.
But what's really important is that at least the justice system, the court acknowledges that she has been raped and that what happened to her is wrong and that she was not responsible in any way about what was done to her.
What I will say, Heather, is one of the things that we forget when we see that poise and that continuing of attending a trial with horrific details is that she has said that she's still recovering, that she will perhaps not fully recover from what's happened to her. And that's something that her lawyer had said to me. It was that for her, it's about the justice, about the court recognizing what these men had done to her, and they showed that through the guilty verdicts from the 5 judges on this case, but that the sentencing perhaps was a bit less important, and that it will be very hard for her to recover after dealing with almost 10 years of, at the time, not knowing what was happening to her, but then finding out, and then the 5 years or almost 5 years that it took to go through this case. So this is one step of her recovery, and she has now shed the name Pelicot. She wanted to use it for the trial itself so that her
Sarah, thank you. Sarah Levitt in London. Now, Gisèle Pelicot is receiving praise from international leaders in all of this, from the German Chancellor, Olaf Scholz. He responded to the outcome on social media, saying she courageously stepped out of anonymity and into the public eye and fought for justice. He praised her for giving women around the world a strong voice. And from the Spanish Prime Minister, Pedro Sanchez, he thanked Gisèle Pelicot and said she had such dignity. The president of the French National Assembly also thanked her for her courage. And in a statement on social media, she said the voice of so many victims is carried through her today, that the world is no longer the same thanks to her. Again, potentially opening the debate on forcing change to the rape law in France.